initially a little bit nervous, obviously, but mostly just excited. I'm always so encouraged listening to everyone else's stories, so I'm excited to share a little bit of mine with you guys today. So to really understand all that God's done for me in the past year and a half, I'm going to zoom out and give you a little bit of background. I was raised Southern Baptist, so make of that what you will. I grew up in the church and literally was in the church building for a good portion of my childhood, as my mom was the children's ministries coordinator. So I just remember playing hide and go seek in the pews, like that was my childhood, okay? So I did Bible quizzing, and I don't know if you guys know what Awana is. Does anyone know what Awana is? Yeah? Okay. So I really, really liked Awana as a kid. Like, it's Girl Scouts, Bible edition, and memorizing it badges. It was awesome. So for the first 15 or so years of my life, I gained a lot of knowledge about who God is. I knew all the stories. I was very well exposed. Then late high school, early college came around, and I just began to care less and less. I wouldn't say I denounced my faith or anything crazy. I believed God was real, but he was not Lord over my life. I was too busy building my own little kingdom for myself. God to me was very distant, hard to hear, boring, works-oriented, and someone I would figure out later and develop a real relationship with when I was much more smart and mature. And we all know that's a joke because just got that degree and don't feel any different. So, during this phase of life, I was afflicted with self-satisfaction. The most extreme and devastating type of malnutrition. I was convinced I didn't need God. My entire identity rested in my own abilities. I was smart, I was a good student, I was a good soccer player, I worked the hardest, I wanted it the most, I didn't need people, I definitely didn't need boys. I was in control of my emotions, I was a good sister, I was a good daughter. You're getting the picture. My life was in control and it was all my doing. Then New Year's Day 2015 came and my world stopped spinning. Like many of us in this room, Quincy's promotion to the next dimension marked me profoundly. She was one of my roommates, one of my best friends. It was rare a day went by and I didn't talk to her. And just like that, she was in the sweet presence of her Savior, and we were left to process and deal with the loss. During the time that followed, I couldn't have felt less in control. Everything was flipped upside down. I couldn't regulate emotions. I didn't like to be left alone. I hated soccer, the sport I once worshipped, I now couldn't stand, and ended up being so overwhelmed by it, I had to take a break from practicing with the team. I couldn't complete homework assignments and didn't see the point in school. My relationship with my family became estranged. Everything I once thought I was crumbled to the ground. My little Kalyn kingdom did not survive the storm. But it was through this coming to the end of myself that I also came to the beginning of a vital relationship with God. I experienced such love and closeness to Christ during this time as I trusted him to carry me through days and weeks and months. 2 Corinthians 1:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." What a perspective shift. Boast in weaknesses, that was a foreign concept to me, but I became very familiar with it. That's it, guys. I've learned so many things the past 16 months, but that's the biggest takeaway for me. The knowledge of my own weakness pushed me into the weight of the gospel. Once I was stripped of my inflated self-esteem and sense of independence, I was able to be held by Christ. I found his power in my pain, in my weakness, and in the depths. And it was there my heart was completely changed. It was there my identity was transformed into something much more beautiful as I began to desire the things God desires for me. I now saw my teammates as eternal beings instead of people to use to win a worldly prize. I went from being known for my social media usage to hardly checking the sites. I transitioned from isolating myself to pursuing new and deeper relationships. I view money differently, I view time differently, I view work differently. I can't get enough of the word now and deeply desire fellowship with other Christians. And really, mission's been a huge part of cultivating those desires in my heart. I truly can't be more thankful for this church and the safe place it's been for me. It's been a place and a body of people where it's okay to be a mess, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to not have it all figured out. And that's really what I needed the past couple years. I've grown and learned so much through what God is doing here. So in the end, I'm just not as scared anymore. I'm not fearful about the future and not being able to handle something or failing or what the next steps of life are going to look like. God's got me, He's carried me this far, and he carried me through trials I never imagined that I would face, and once I did, I didn't know how I'd endure them, and I know he'll carry me through whatever's next. Because once you fully realize that God's defeated death, then what can we really be scared of? What can I not trust him to see the good in, and what situation can he not use? If he can use the most painful and difficult time of my life to draw me closer to his love, I've got to trust him. So Matt Chandler said in a book I read a few months back, "What I once knew, I now know." And that really sums it up for me. My whole life I could have recited the Bible verses to you, told you all about God's attributes and who he is, but now I've watched his faithfulness hold true. Now I know. And I know that identity in him is the only thing that'll survive the storms. Thanks.